All right, welcome back, everyone. Back to day one. We're just kicking things off, getting things going here, and of course, we're talking about this idea of opening to new possibilities, new perspectives. This idea that you really can recreate yourself. You can recreate a new identity for yourself, a new personality to really change your personal reality. And I'm so excited about my next guest, dear brother. We've been weaving back and forth since we met in Bali. I want to say back in 2016, somewhere around then. So it's been a minute. Um, and Bryan Henry is he's founder of Together We Ascend and a transformational coach. And he's going to be talking today about unleash your highest potential or highest purpose. So welcome, Bryan. Thank you so much for doing this, for coming on, for everything that you're bringing into the world. Super grateful to have you here, and yeah, looking forward to your share and just finding out a little bit more, about you for all of our viewers and anything else you want to share.
Yeah, man, and thank you for creating this platform. I know how much work and time and energy goes into just bringing together something like this. So, honoring you for taking this step towards supporting all the people that are tuning into this.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. So, just maybe quickly, we'll circle back to this at the end as well, but just a few more words on who you are, what you're up to in the world, and then love for you to talk to us about, really unleashing your highest purpose.
Oh, what am I doing in the world? Um, being me, being me. Just trying to live true to my values and what's most important to me. I value both the inside and out game, right? Inside being the character traits that I want to embody, the person that I want to be for myself and for those around me. And then also, of course, like I love playing in the game of the world and creating amazing things and creating impactful things, things that both are a reflection of those values that I mentioned, but then also an expression of my inspiration, of my excitement, as well as what sort of impact that I want to have in the world. And like you mentioned, Together We Ascend is one of those creations, and being a coach for people looking to serve their highest purpose and actualize their highest potential is one of the other forms that my service and what I'm creating in the world takes.
Beautiful. Thank you for everything you're doing. So tell us, let's dive into how people can unleash each their highest purpose in
Yeah,
life.
yeah, I'd love to share. Um, Yeah, I guess I'll start with this. Before I ever do a talk, a presentation, or anything like this, I answer two questions. My first question is, what's the one perspective or idea that I want someone to walk away from this experience with after hearing me share? The second question is, what's one action that I want them to take after this? I think we'll come back to the one action, but yeah, it feels appropriate to just kind of set the stage with the one perspective. So if there's any one idea that I want someone to come out of this experience with, it's this: you're here for a reason, you have a higher purpose, and it's in aligning with this that you will come alive. You'll come alive with a sense of fulfillment, a sense of passion, inspiration, joy, abundance. I truly believe that the greatest path that we can walk is the path of serving our highest purpose. So I think recognizing that first and foremost, realizing that like there's a reason for me being here. Anyone listening to this whole is true for, right? Because everyone is their own unique expression of the all of the divine, and inherent in that is purpose, right? And it might help to sit back and just kind of look into nature and see that like everything in nature serves some sort of purpose that goes beyond just its own existence, right? Everything is contributing to this experience in some way or another. And I believe that we all have this within us. We came into this lifetime. We came into this collective experience here on Earth to unleash something.
Mm.
Does everyone do that? Probably not. Is more and more people doing that today? Yes. There's a lot of people that are listening to this and being a part of this event that's taking place. Going to do that? I believe so. Um, So coming into the awareness of this, I think, is step one. And then of course there's a lot to how do we discover what's of our purpose? How do we after discovering it bring that into our experience? How do we express that? And then I'll lead you to steer me in terms of which one of these steps, which part of this stage of this process you feel is best for us to dig even deeper into.
Yeah, how does somebody even open to that idea? You know, I think all too often we get into this kind of co-regulation with, you know, whether it's busyness or alcohol or sex or, you know, whatever it is, so that we don't have to feel the feelings. And, you know, it's like we're kind of in the washing machine going around with all of our stuff. So how does somebody get outside of the washing machine long enough to recognize where they were, where they are in a given moment, and then open up to this idea that, man, you know, maybe I'm not living my purpose. Maybe there's something more that I am meant for.
Yeah. It's an amazing question, and it's a great analogy because yes, when we're in the washing machine, um, it can be pretty hard to see clearly, and really gain that perspective. One of the things that comes up for me is that this idea of our purpose can sometimes, I want to say, be hard to reach. Um, you know, not everyone is I'm gonna say ready to start thinking about that because there's let's say certain things within their I feel like there's certain things that need to kind of be addressed as the foundation for us to even begin to open up to this idea that hey, maybe I'm here for something greater than this. And what I mean by that is just really getting clear on, you know, what it is that you're desiring. Right? I feel like there's this stage that happens before the stage of reflecting on one's purpose that can entail a little bit more of just what do I want for me, right? And that takes taking a pause, right? So again, just to really clarify that, um, if it has to start with just what do I want for me, I do see that's the starting point for so many people, getting their foundation right, um, before feeling inspired to serve something larger, and that's okay. Um, Now, if we're in the washing machine and it's tossing and turning us, and we're in this whirlwind, I think the best thing that we can do is take that pause. Um, so many haven't yet, from what I've seen at least, haven't yet even taken the time to really reflect on simple questions like this. You know, what is it that I'm desiring? What are my core values? What's important to me? What do I want for my life? And being the whirlwind of these distractions, and these distractions can take many forms. It can even take the form of working a job you don't like, right? That you have to spend these long hours in, that is occupying your time, your attention, your energy. Um, But one way or another, I think we all have to find that time and space to really just be still and observe and reflect. And if these answers aren't coming easily, the answers to some of these questions I've mentioned, I find that taking that pause and just being in that space of stillness, um, allows for some of these insights to start to come through. But we, like you said, we have to kind of make sure that, or take that step out of the washing machine before we can even gain this perspective.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, what would you say? So somebody who's addicted to the busyness, right? Because that becomes an addiction as well. And not that people aren't busy, but again, somebody who's in it, who's it's easy for you to say, like, I've got kids and I've got a job and I've got to put food on the table and I've got to make dinner and I've got to, like, this is my life. Like, I don't have time to take a pause. Any kind of tips or tricks on, first of all, how people can identify that, and on how they can create that space for themselves?
Yeah. It's got to become a priority, right? It's as simple as that. The I don't have time can easily be reframed to I'm choosing not to, right? And even with regards to our responsibilities, hey, I got it. There's things that need our attention. Our kids need our attention. Our jobs need our attention. And yes, and recognize that we're still in the ones in the driver's seat choosing to place our attention on what it is that we're placing our attention on. And so I think that reframing of realizing that it's not that I don't have time. We all have time. It's how are we choosing to spend our time? And if something isn't happening and we aren't choosing to spend our time on it, it's not as much about not having the time for it as much as it is about not making it a priority. I guess the other thing I want to add to this is that if you are one of these individuals that are caught up with so many other things, um, start small, right? If you create this time and space for even just an hour, right? And we'll talk about, I think, in a sec, how we spend that hour. But I truly believe that if anyone that is finding themselves in the situation of not being in alignment with a life that lights them up, let's put it simply, right? If you're unfulfilled in one way or another, if anyone in this position creates this time and space to take an hour to themselves to do all the things that we're about to talk about, I truly believe that that in itself would invoke and be the stepping stone to so much transformation taking place.
Yeah, so powerful. So you had mentioned earlier that you wanted to go into an action step. So uh, I'd love
Mm-hmm.
to hear, an action step or two that people can take to open to this new idea, this new way, that I'm sure will lead to, successive steps on their way to unleashing their highest purpose.
Yeah, I think I am going to share two, um, because they kind of go hand in hand. The the first step is to take the time to reflect, take the time to reflect on some of these questions that I shared. Again, just to name a few of them again. What is it that I'm desiring? What's important to me? If I could have it all, this is how I like to play with it. If I could wave a magic wand and have anything that I decided to, what would that look like? Right. And I think there's something powerful about allowing ourselves the space to dream big for a moment, right? And play with it. If the doubt starts seeping in, like, hey, can I really have this? Like, this is not realistic. There's no way. That's why I like to bring in the magic wand, because it gives us permission to play, and I think that can be just so powerful. Just to admit to yourself for a second what it is that you truly want. Right? Let go for a second on any consideration around whether this is realistic or not. Just let's take a look at what's really going on there in terms of what's these true desires. What are these core values that I have? Um, there's another way that I like to go about this, that I'm big on having a vision, right? Having a vision for our life. And when I guide someone through this, it's organized in these different areas of your life, right? Because there's so many different pieces that make up the totality of our life, that I think it's important to address our vision from multiple different layers, right? Just to name a few, your physical health and body. What are you envisioning for that? Your family life, your relationships. What sort of relationships are you envisioning? Your social life, your finances. Play with it. Allow yourself to envision, and then that leads into aligning ourselves with it, of course, right? So after finding that clarity, playing in this vision, these desires for a moment, this I think is the one action that I want everyone to walk away from. I started with that because this plays into it, but the one action I would say is coming back to that hour. Having that hour daily to sit, observe, be in stillness, observe the thoughts, observe yourself, right? We make meditation more complicated than it needs to be. There's no meditating wrong. If you sit down and you just observe your experience, you're meditating. Why I started with the reflection of your vision and your core values and things like that is because the tail end of that meditation, I want you to take time to visualize that. I want you to visualize and focus on the vision that you have for your wildest dreams. And most importantly, and I think this would be something to dive deeper into, doing our best to feel the emotions that we associate with that. Right. And there's again, I think it's going to be important for us to really understand why that's important. Um, but just to sum up here, after getting clear on what our vision is, and these are all things everyone can do, right? There's it doesn't need to be complicated.
Mm-hmm.
And it also can be as specific as you want it, as detailed as you want it, but do it. And after getting clear on what that vision looks like, and we've reflected on that, we've gotten that down on paper. If we were to, if we were to take that and just ideally every day, take 30 to 60 minutes sitting, observing what we're feeling, observing how we're thinking, observing, and then again towards the tail end of that, calling in this vision to our heart and mind, and feeling the feelings that we associate with if we were already in that experience. That in itself, I think, would be the, like I said, the root, the center point from which so much change starts to take place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, beautifully said. And before I ask you the last question, I want to pose a question to all of our viewers. And if you haven't done this for yourself, or you're not um, yet willing to do it for yourself, I want to ask you why it is that you've made everybody else and everything else in your life more important than you, right? If you're tending to your job, kids and spouse and that sort of thing, I understand the need and the desire to put them ahead of yourself, but it's that old analogy, right? Like you can't pour from an empty cup. And so, if you're pouring from that empty cup because you're taking care of everybody else first and you're putting yourself last, I want to ask you to really sit with that question and ask yourself, Why is it that I've made everybody else in my life and everything else in my life more important than me? And I think if you can sit with that, you may get to some of these answers, and that will begin to open you up to the idea that, if you can take a noble sense of self first, then you can fill your cup, and everybody else gets to drink from the overflow. You get to bring more of you to the
Yeah.
party, so to speak.
Yeah. Could I add to that actually?
Yeah,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah. I think you just nailed on the head towards the end there too, right? The overflow, right? It's I think realizing that if we were to again take care of us and fill our own cup, and align with some of these things that support us, um, we will end up showing up better for everyone else in our life, right? Our kids, our family, our jobs, all of it. We will show up, and perform better in whatever way we need to in all areas of our life if we are taking this time to fill ourselves up. Giving, I always say that giving our greatest and feeling our greatest are not separate things. They are one of the same thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's this idea of bringing peak performance into every area so that we can actually create a peak existence.
Yeah,
So, Brian, what does peak performance mean to you?
good question. It's all encompassing. Being our best, feeling our best, giving our best to others is all encompassing, all of the same thing. Um, I don't think we need to sacrifice one for the other, right? They all feed into each other, and coming into alignment with our peak performance, coming into alignment with our highest self, coming into alignment with our highest purpose. I want to say again, it's all one of the same thing.
Mm.
Yeah. So there's a lot that plays into that, or I'll say there's so many different forms that may take, right? Like again, coming back to our life vision, there's different areas that we're being called to show up in our highest, in our peak performance. Um, but it doesn't need to be this favoring one over the other, because really and truly I feel when we come into harmony with all of these areas being, yeah, well in harmony with one another, taking our care of our health leads to greater fulfillment and a greater energy in our relationships. When we are prosperous and financially feeling stable and abundant, right, that also contributes to our energy and our performance in other areas of our life. Um, so yeah, when I think about peak performance, I think of having this well-rounded, balanced life, but then also showing up in your fullest in the way that you desire to, in alignment with your highest vision and
Mm.
purpose in life.
I love that. I love that. So that concludes um, our session today. Now, I want everybody who's viewing to be able to get a hold of you, Brian. So if you want to share, like, where you are, how people can get in touch with you, what you're up to, any offers that you have, anything going on, please do that, and then we'll obviously post the links and everything below so people can find you.
Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity. Um, yeah, I just love to connect and support people. I'm right now feeling alive in supporting men find direction and a purpose. So I've been coaching and really focusing in on these containers, these one-on-one containers where um, I support those I'm working with in finding clarity and alignment with what they're desiring, as well as how they want to show up and what they want to give to the world. So that's kind of the main avenue to work with me. Um, and then for everyone else, I have my YouTube channel and podcast where I'm putting out a whole ton of free content. I'm Awaken with Bryan on YouTube, and if you Google that, you can find the podcast as well.
Amazing. Thank you so much, brother. And thank you for everything that you're doing in the world, how you're supporting others, and for showing up and for your contribution here. It's always an honor for me to get to connect with you and hear you're a genius and sharing your energy. And so I'm super grateful for you being here. And for all of you watching, please stay tuned. We've got lots more coming up. We're just kicking off day one. We've got 2 more days as we continue this journey to total freedom and fulfillment, and how to unleash yourself and as we redefine peak performance.